Excalibur, the legendary sword of King Arthur. A blade so powerful, it could only be wielded by the true ruler of Britain. But was this mythical weapon ever more than just a story? In Arthurian legend, two origin tales compete for Excalibur's beginnings. One speaks of a sword lodged in stone, awaiting the rightful king to pull it free. The other tells of a mystical gift, bestowed by the enigmatic Lady of the Lake. But how did these stories come to be? The name itself has a storied history. In early Welsh tales, it was known as Caled Floch. Roman influence later transformed it to Caliburnus. By the time medieval romances flourished, it had evolved into the Excalibur we know today. The name may have changed, but the power of the myth only grew stronger. The Sword in the Stone narrative paints a vivid picture. Young Arthur, guided by destiny, effortlessly draws the blade where countless others had failed. This act proves his divine right to rule, uniting a fractured kingdom under his banner. It's a tale of destiny, of the chosen one rising to meet their fate. But then there's the Lady of the Lake version. Here, Excalibur is a gift from the other world, presented by a mysterious female figure emerging from the waters. This origin speaks of magic, of the thin veil between our world and the realm of fairy. It suggests Arthur's rule is blessed not just by earthly power, but by forces beyond mortal understanding. These conflicting origins raise intriguing questions. Were they once separate legends that merged over time? Or deliberate variations crafted to emphasize different aspects of Arthur's legitimacy? Historically, swords held immense significance in Celtic and early medieval cultures. They were more than mere weapons. They were symbols of authority, crafted with skill and imbued with meaning. Some scholars suggest Excalibur's legend could have roots in real blades associated with ancient British or Roman leaders. The practice of ritual sword deposition offers another fascinating connection. Across Europe, archaeologists have uncovered numerous swords in lakes, rivers, and bogs. These weren't lost in battle, but deliberately placed as offerings to gods or ancestral spirits. Could this widespread tradition have inspired the Lady of the Lake myth? The image of a blade rising from misty waters certainly captures the imagination. Excalibur wasn't just sharp, it was sacred. Its very existence spoke of Arthur's divine right to rule. In a time when kings claimed their authority came from God, a heaven-sent sword was the ultimate proof of legitimacy. It united the practical power of a weapon with the mystical aura of the divine. The symbolism goes deeper. Excalibur represents justice, the king's duty to protect his people and uphold the law. Its magical properties, said to blind enemies or render its wielder invulnerable, speak to the superhuman expectations placed on a true leader. In Arthur's hands, it became an extension of his very kingship. Scholars have long debated the cultural ingredients that went into Excalibur's legend. Celtic folklore, with its emphasis on magical weapons and otherworldly beings, clearly played a major role. Roman military traditions, where swords were symbols of command and honor, likely contributed as well. As Christianity spread, the idea of divinely sanctioned rule found a perfect vessel in this mystical blade. The evolution of the legend mirrors the changing face of Britain itself. From fragmented Celtic kingdoms to Roman province, to a land seeking unity in the face of Saxon invasions, Excalibur. Story adapted to reflect the ideals and anxieties of each era. Even in Arthur's death, Excalibur's power endures. In many versions of the legend, a faithful knight is tasked with returning the sword to the lake. As it arcs through the air, a hand rises from the water to catch it, drawing the blade back into the realm of mystery. The cycle is complete, but the legend lives on. Excalibur's influence extends far beyond Arthurian tales. It became the template for countless magical weapons in fantasy literature and popular culture. From Aragorn's reforged blade in The Lord of the Rings to the Sword of Gryffindor in Harry Potter, echoes of Excalibur resound. These weapons aren't just powerful, they're destined for a chosen wielder, marking them as heroes. The idea of a sword tied to legitimate rule has appeared in various cultures. Norse mythology speaks of Graham, a blade that could only be drawn by the hero Sigurd. Japanese legends tell of the imperial regalia, including the sword kusanagi, proof of the emperor's divine right to rule. Excalibur taps into a seemingly universal human fascination with weapons that are more than mere steel. Modern retellings of the Arthurian legend often grapple with Excalibur's meaning. Is it a symbol of hope, of the potential for just and noble leadership, or a dangerous consolidation of power, a weapon that perhaps no mortal should wield? These interpretations reflect our own complex relationship with power and authority. Archaeologists and historians continue to search for potential real-world inspirations behind Excalibur. Spectacular finds like the Sutton, whose sword or ornate Celtic blades offer tantalizing glimpses into the world that birthed the legend. While we may never find the Excalibur, these artifacts remind us of the reverence ancient cultures held for finely crafted weapons. The blending of history and myth in Excalibur's tale raises fascinating questions about how legends are born. Did a particularly impressive sword, perhaps wielded by a charismatic leader, grow in the telling over generations? Or is Excalibur a purely literary creation, a perfect symbol crafted to embody ideals of kingship and divine favor? In the end, perhaps Excalibur's true power lies not in any magical properties, but in its ability to inspire. It represents the hope for wise and just leadership, for a ruler who truly deserves their crown. In troubled times, the idea of a divinely chosen champion rising to set things right holds undeniable appeal. Today, Excalibur lives on. In every fantasy epic, every hero's sacred weapon, every tale of the chosen one rising to meet their destiny. It reminds us of the enduring power of myth to shape our understanding of leadership, power, and the potential for greatness that might lie dormant, waiting for the right moment to be drawn forth. Did Excalibur truly exist? Perhaps not as a physical blade, but as an idea, as a symbol of righteous power and the responsibilities of true leadership. It remains as potent as ever. In that sense, Excalibur continues to rise from the waters of our collective imagination, challenging us to consider what makes a true leader, and what weapons, physical or metaphorical, they might need to wield. Subscribe to the Druid Vault for more mythic deep dives, and leave a comment. Was Excalibur real, or is it the perfect embodiment of our hopes for heroic leadership?